What if I told you that there's actual meaning and purpose behind your pain? This video is the purpose of pain and also how I explain the law of contrast. Now, there's 8 paradigm shifts or perspectives that I want to share that might shift your perspective on pain. What I also want to highlight is that oftentimes when we think of a painful experience like 8 years ago, nothing about that experience has changed, but our perspective, our wisdom, ourselves have changed. But the actual circumstance and the facts of the circumstance hasn't changed, but we have. And that is what we can do when we can shift our perspective to pain. So the first thing I want to say is that pain is highlighting misalignment. There is something misaligned going on in your life, and that is why you are experiencing pain. If there's pain in your body, that means that something is signaling to you, hey, this is off. This is misaligned. If you are feeling pain emotionally, that means that there's something in your life that's misaligned, either your lifestyle or your environment or somebody. There are things signaling to you, hey, this is off. Hey, this is off. Hey, this is off. So are you listening to the whispers of life, which is my second point? Life is always, always speaking to you, whether you're paying attention or not. And sometimes when we are hit with big catastrophic pain, it was, if we were really paying attention, and this is not always, but sometimes if we were really paying attention, life was whispering. When you get fired from a job, let's say, you don't just get randomly fired. There were signs and signals saying, ooh, this is off. Ooh, this is misaligned. When you are in a poor relationship and it ends, if you were really paying attention, the whispers were there. Things were signaling to you that it was off, but were you paying attention? And sometimes we do not pay attention or change until the pain is intolerable. Sometimes we know that we need to make shifts. We know that we need to make changes, but we don't. And I don't know why we don't. I also do this where I'll wait until the pain is I can't take it anymore, and then I'll make a change. And it's like, girl, if you would have just listened to the first whisper, we wouldn't be here. Another good example is like with somebody will say something, and the first whisper is, ooh, that was off, but maybe they're just having a bad day. And then the whispers just get louder because life is telling you, not this. Are you listening to it or are you not? The third thing is that it's always an opportunity to love ourselves more deeply. When I think about the most painful experiences of my life, they were there for many reasons, but one of them was to say, hey, can you really love yourself in this experience? Have you been loving yourself? And is that why you're here? And also, how can you love yourself in this moment? Because I think the last time I was experiencing a significant amount of despair, I had started my self-love journey, but it had been very conditional on the things in my life. And when things were going well, I loved myself and I could say my affirmations and feel really confident. But how can you love yourself when is hitting the fan, when things are not going well, when you've made a mistake or you did something you regret? Can you love yourself then? This is your opportunity to do so. Now, the fourth one is probably my favorite one because it explains the law of contrast and the purpose of pain. So the purpose of pain, I think, again, is to highlight the misalignment, but also it shows us the direct contrast of what we do not want. Sometimes, in order to really understand what we do want, what we are looking for, we experience the opposite so that we know. And my favorite way to explain this is when it comes to joy and depression. Last year, I was in, I would call a depression. And now, because I've experienced such low lows, my highs are that much higher because I can compare it to the past. And my dark days were super dark, but my days now are so much lighter because I'm able to compare it to that darkness. And so that is the law of contrast. It's being able to compare your lows to your highs and see the contrast and how much you've grown, how much better things are, how much more love you're able to experience because of that contrast. And so that is hopeful to me, because I know, oof, I'm experiencing this pain, but my joy from this moment will be so much higher because of the depth of the contrast. And so that is one of my favorite things, and something that gives me solace when I'm experiencing a lot of pain. The fifth thing is that it creates art. I think some of the most beautiful artists, some of the most beautiful albums have been born out of pain. Yes, there are beautiful albums and music that are born from joyful moments, but also we wouldn't have Lemonade, we wouldn't have Adele, we wouldn't have these beautiful artists had they not experienced their pain and used it as a vessel to propel them out of it. If we really gave ourselves the permission to feel how we really felt and used it as a form of art, we would alchemize the pain that much more beautifully. And so let it be an opportunity to write a poem, write a book, make a video, and let it be a vessel for you to express yourself and share that with the human experience, because everyone's going through pain. I know it might not seem like it with social media, but people are experiencing pain, and you being able to share it, create something from it is so cathartic and healing. The sixth thing is that nature has its seasons. Nature has its winter where things are dark and cold and doesn't have beautiful flowers or leaves. And sometimes we have those seasons too. So the question is, do you hate yourself while you're in your winter season? Or do you nurture and nestle into blankets and tea and an introspective place of like, why am I here? And what is this teaching me? Because life is always happening for you and through you. It's not happening to you. And that is just a paradigm shift. Can you shift your perspective to be like, what is this teaching me? Versus, why am I here? I hate that I'm here. You gain nothing from that perspective, even though it's really easy to have. And so how are you taking care of yourself in your winter season? Because again, it is simply a season. Nothing in life is permanent. Nothing, even the good things. And so what can you do in this season to take care of yourself more deeply? The seventh perspective is that you either evolve or repeat. Like I said, life is happening for you. Things are happening for you. So if you do not learn this lesson, it will happen again, either in another job environment, with another romantic partner, with another circumstance. We have these wounds, we have these identities, we have these experiences that we will repeat subconsciously until we heal them. So what is the lesson? What is this teaching you? Because it's not just, you didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. You are in the context of your reality. And so what is this teaching you? This is a lesson. This is oftentimes a wound that needs to be nurtured. And can you give yourself the grace and compassion to love yourself through the experience? Or are you berating yourself and being mean to yourself and suffering more because of it? The last thing is that this opportunity, because it's an opportunity, even though it's super painful, this opportunity is here sometimes so that we deepen our relationship with source. Whatever source means to you, maybe it's God, maybe it's the universe, maybe it's the law, however you connect to source. Sometimes when things are going really well, we don't practice prayer or gratitude because we're just living life and we're just doing things really well, but we haven't connected to source in a way that we do when we're in pain. When I was in pain last year, I prayed every single day, and it was my connection to source. It was me pouring into that relationship and then it getting deeper and my blessings coming. So are you praying? Are you connecting to source when things are going well? Or has it been a long time and it's an opportunity to connect again? to deepen again. So I hope this video just shifts your perspective on pain and the purpose of it, because it's there. It's happening for you. It's a lesson. And can you learn from it? Or are you just going to be miserable and seek ways to numb and distract yourself? Because oftentimes it will come again. So let it be a lesson. Let it be an opportunity to learn, to love yourself, to connect more deeply to source, and to know that it's temporary and it is a moment in time. That's all it is. It's a moment in time. If this video resonated with you, if it shifted your perspective, I hope that it did. These are things that I remind myself when I'm going through it and when I'm in the middle of pain. If you like this video, share, comment, subscribe. Now I can say it right. And I'll be back with more videos on the journey of love. Bye.